The ancient philosophy of Stoicism offers powerful insights on how to build an unshakable sense of confidence and self-worth. By applying Stoic practices like self-mastery, virtue development, and focusing on what we can control, we can overcome self-doubt and grow into our full potential. I want to get real with you all about something I've struggled with my whole life, dealing with uncertainty. I'm the type of person who feels the need to analyze every little detail and know exactly what to expect. I'll spend hours trying to envision how things will play out before making any decision. This has caused me tons of anxiety and self-doubt throughout my life. I'd get so caught up overanalyzing that I would just freeze up and not act at all. And when things didn't go according to my plan, I was devastated because I felt like I must have made the wrong choice. Looking back, I realized that this was really holding me back from reaching my potential. I was so afraid of the unknown that I wasn't willing to put myself out there and take chances. It came to a breaking point recently where I had to make a major life decision without having all the information I usually rely on. Surprisingly, it turned out better than I could have imagined. That was a huge turning point for me. I realized that I needed to change my mindset and learn how to feel comfortable with uncertainty. So I want to share with you all some simple tips that have really helped me embrace unpredictability and start building my self-confidence. First, I had to let go of the belief that I need to know the outcome of every situation ahead of time. This has meant taking a leap of faith sometimes and making decisions without agonizing over every detail first. Second, I've learned to focus my energy on things within my control rather than obsessing over external factors I can't control. I make the best call I can with the information I have in front of me. Third, I've started reminding myself of times in the past when I've successfully handled uncertainty. Looking back helps me have faith that I can handle whatever comes my way going forward. And finally, when I'm feeling anxious about unpredictability, I found it really helpful to just take things one step at a time. If I just focus on the next move rather than getting overwhelmed by the bigger picture, I feel much more calm and capable. Learning to embrace the unknown rather than fear it has been life-changing for me. I feel more confident in myself than ever before. Learning to embrace the unknown rather than fear it has been life-changing for me. I feel more confident in myself than ever before, but it didn't happen overnight. An important part of my journey has been actively working to develop virtues like courage, wisdom, and self-control. The ancient philosophy of Stoicism placed a huge emphasis on living virtuously. The Stoics believed that by cultivating virtues, you build an unshakable sense of self-worth and confidence. I've found this to be so true in my life. Making the effort to act with integrity, face my fears, and control my impulsive reactions has been just as important as learning to accept uncertainty. Let me share some specific ways focusing on virtue has boosted my self-confidence. First, I make a habit of facing fears and leaving my comfort zone. Things like public speaking, trying new hobbies, and putting myself out there socially used to terrify me. But each time I practice courage and push through the discomfort, I feel more bold and self-sure. My confidence grows. Second, I work on self-discipline by exercising willpower in the face of temptation. When I'm disciplined and delay gratification to achieve my goals, I prove to myself that I'm mentally tough. I feel really confident when I overcome distractions. Finally, I pause and think carefully before reacting to challenging situations. Exercising wisdom builds faith that I can navigate difficulties with emotional intelligence. Staying cool under pressure makes me feel capable. Living virtuously takes work, but it offers so many rewards. I have a deeper sense of self-respect knowing I make choices aligned with my values. My confidence comes from inner integrity rather than external stuff. Here's the key. Focus first on being your best self, not seeking validation. Aim to live with courage, wisdom, and self-control. When you develop virtues, confidence will follow. Living virtuously takes work, but it offers so many rewards. I have a deeper sense of self-respect, knowing I make choices aligned with my values. My confidence comes from inner integrity rather than external stuff. Today, I want to focus on one specific virtue that has really helped me build unshakable self-confidence, mastering my reactions. The Stoic philosophers emphasized controlling your emotional responses and acting rationally. When you can manage your reactions skillfully, you feel much more capable of handling anything life throws at you. Let me share some strategies that have worked for me. First, when something happens that triggers a strong negative emotion like anger or anxiety, pause before reacting. Take a few deep breaths to calm your nerves. This allows you to respond thoughtfully instead of instinctively. With practice, you can catch yourself in the moment and choose to stay cool and rational. Second, try distancing yourself mentally from the problem. Imagine you're giving advice to a friend in the same situation. This helps you gain some objectivity instead of getting wrapped up in emotion. Third, focus on controlling only what you can control. Don't waste energy on things outside of your control, like other people's opinions. Channel your efforts into helpful actions within your power. And fourth, be prepared by visualizing challenges ahead of time. Imagine how you want to compose yourself and respond. When difficulty strikes, you can draw on this mental preparation. Mastering my reactions has shown me I have the inner strength to handle adversity calmly and intelligently. I don't panic or act impulsively when things go wrong. This gives me great confidence. Here are some examples of how I apply reaction management in real life. When I notice myself getting frustrated while stuck in traffic, I take deep breaths and focus on how lucky I am to have a car. This brings me back to a state of patience and gratitude. If someone confronts me angrily, I make a point to speak calmly and rationally. Not letting their emotions rub off on me keeps me feeling in control. And before big events like speeches, I visualize staying poised if mistakes happen. When problems inevitably occur, I draw on that mental image to keep cool. Learning to govern your reactions takes effort, but it pays off. You'll feel much more confident knowing you have the self-discipline to handle anything with reason and emotional intelligence. Try out some of these response management tips when you face challenging situations. I'd love to hear which ones work best for you. Controlling your reactions builds the unshakable confidence that comes from within. Mastering my reactions has shown me I have the inner strength to handle adversity calmly and intelligently. I don't panic or act impulsively when things go wrong. This gives me great confidence. Today, I want to talk about another Stoic practice that has helped me grow in self-confidence, getting to know myself through regular self-reflection. The Stoics believed you should engage in introspection daily to deepen your self-awareness. When you know your abilities and values, you can play to your strengths with conviction. Here are some self-reflection tips I found super helpful. First, set aside 10 minutes a day for self-examination. I like to do this in the morning to start my day mindfully. Use the time to tune into your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Second, identify your principles and priorities. What matters most to you? What virtues do you want to embody? Knowing your core values gives direction and purpose. Third, take stock of your talents, skills, and passions. Make an honest accounting of what you excel at and what makes you come alive. This gives you confidence to pursue fulfilling paths. Fourth, notice any negative thought patterns like self-doubt or criticism. Then, consciously argue against those thoughts with rational responses. This shrinks their power over you. And fifth, write in a journal to clarify your reflections. Jotting things down really cements self-insights for me. Review past entries to check your growth. Getting to know yourself deeply reveals your unique gifts. It also makes you aware of areas needing growth so you can improve. Ultimately, this knowledge fosters self-acceptance and belief in your abilities. Some examples of how self-reflection has boosted my confidence. Recognizing my love of writing has given me the courage to start my YouTube channel and blog. Knowing public speaking is hard for me. I deliberately practice it more to expand my comfort zone. Identifying my tendency to catastrophize helps me reality check anxious thoughts and stay calm. Make self-examination a regular habit. Discover more of who you are, what excites you, and where you can grow. This self-knowledge will ground your confidence in authentic truth about you. Let me know how self-reflection impacts your confidence too. Just 10 minutes a day can yield big rewards. Your unique strengths and gifts are waiting to be discovered within. Getting to know yourself deeply reveals your unique gifts. It also makes you aware of areas needing growth so you can improve. Ultimately, this knowledge fosters self-acceptance and belief in your abilities. Today, I want to talk about a challenging but important part of building unshakable confidence, learning to accept criticism. The Stoic philosophers advised not taking negative feedback personally. Instead, view it objectively as information to learn from. This helps strengthen self-confidence. Here are some tips that have worked for me. First, when criticized, take a few deep breaths before responding. This prevents you from reacting defensively in the moment. Second, consider whether there are any kernels of truth in the critique that could help you improve. Dismissing all negative feedback limits your growth. Third, remember that the critic's opinion does not define your self-worth. You have inherent value beyond what others think of you. Fourth, argue against any irrational criticisms in your mind. If a critique is exaggerated or inaccurate, don't buy into it. Fifth, focus on what you can control in response to criticism, not on what you can't control about others' opinions. You have power over your attitude and actions. And finally, share criticisms with a trusted friend to reality test them. Getting an outside perspective helps reveal distortions or biases in the feedback. Here are some examples of how I apply criticism: acceptance. When my boss critiqued my presentation skills, I asked for specifics on how I could improve rather than feeling embarrassed. Getting rejected from several publications stung, but it motivated me to keep honing my writing rather than taking it as proof I'm not good enough. And when a friend called me out for being defensive, I took time to reflect on my behavior rather than snapping back. View feedback, even negative, as a tool for growth. Let go of the need to be perfect. Self-confidence comes from knowing you're always improving. I'd love to hear how you handle criticism and feedback too. They may sting in the moment, but ultimately make us stronger. We got this. Viewing feedback, even negative, as a tool for growth has been huge for me. Letting go of the need to be perfect and focusing on improvement has built my self-confidence so much. Today, I want to talk about another key Stoic mindset shift that has increased my self-assurance, concentrating on what I can control. The Stoics taught that we should focus our energy solely on things within our influence, not on external events we can't determine. This prevents wasted effort and frustration. Here are some areas the Stoics emphasize we have control over. our judgments and perspectives, our desires and decisions, our attitudes and actions. When you zero in on utilizing your agency in these spheres, you gain confidence that you can shape conditions within your power. On the other hand, things largely outside your control include other people's opinions and behaviors, public events and politics, the past and the distant future. Accepting that much of life is out of your hands frees you from misplaced responsibility. You can focus on making the most of the present situation. Here are some examples of how I apply this principle. Instead of stressing about uncertainties at work, I control my attitude by focusing on each task at hand. If friendships fade, rather than feeling rejected, I focus my energy on new social connections. I shape my reactions to illness or loss by practicing Stoic exercises rather than dwelling on the misfortune itself. Take stock of where you do have agency in your life. Develop and direct your talents and abilities. Growth in what you can control fosters self-confidence. I'd love to hear what areas you have power over. Share how focusing there has built your self-assurance. Controlling what we can allows us to confidently accept what we can.